Yesterday, there was another big video release here from the body cam of more officers from the horrible July 13th Donald Trump assassination attempt. And I want to show this moment to you. It's about 30 seconds. And it really kind of shows a breakdown in communication of why maybe there was nobody positioned on this roof. Take a listen right here on Live Now.
50-30, start towards the farm shop.
I told them they need to post the guys over here. I told them that the Secret Service. I told them that Tuesday. I told them to post the guys over here.
I have no contact with the inside.
What?
I thought you guys were.
No, we're inside.
Alpha 1, Bravo 1. 50-36, 50-30.
All right, so you heard that just moments after the shooting, and one of the officers there just visibly frustrated that nobody was on the roof there to kind of have cover as this rally was going. So let's continue to talk about this here on Live Now from Fox and bring in my next guest of this hour. It's a friend here of the program, Live Now from Fox, Randy Sutton, law enforcement expert. Thanks so much for joining us here as always. We always like when you chime in and give us your insight here. And Randy, when you see a video like that and you hear from the officers, what is going on through your mind?
That this officer is extremely frustrated. He just saw what took place, knew that he had told the Secret Service that they needed people up on the roof, and now realized the gravity of the situation. And this shows the chaos that took place here and the incredible lack of coordination by the Secret Service. This was an epic fail, and it just drips and drabs out just how bad it was. But this shows the frustration of law enforcement there.
And it seems like every day, either from a whistleblower or account or these of these videos that drop, it's just new information coming from this. And the latest whistleblower accounts are showing that that's from Senator Hawley's office out of Missouri, where he's been investigating this. And they're even having issues about not checking IDs about people coming into the event. So there seems like a breakdown hours before, days before, and even minutes before this shooting.
There were so many breakdowns. It's unconscionable what took place here. And, you know, I've been reading the accounts, of course. I've been watching some of the congressional hearings and watching the Secret Service. This is an organization that I used to have great respect for, but they're in chaos, and clearly under the leadership of the last director who resigned under the pressure here. There have been many changes that have led to a cultural problem within that agency itself. And this is now evidencing by this epic fail. Now, the whistleblower that came out concerning the supervisory agent and her lack of even following basic protocols should, this is something that needs to be fully investigated. And every single law enforcement officer who is there needs to be interviewed, and their statements need to be taken, and a full investigation by a non-partial party like the Inspector General needs to take place. The Secret Service cannot investigate itself.
And how has there not been any firings, demotions, suspensions? There's nothing been said about that. And when you think about it, if this was in any other sector, if this wasn't a government job, if this was in any other sector of business world, and you had this big of a failure, you'd be gone already.
Oh, you're 100% right. But let's look at the track record of the Biden administration when it comes down to holding people accountable for their actions. Basically, they don't. And at some point, they may throw a low level Secret Service agent under the bus in order to appease the public and say, well, look, we did something. But this is a leadership failure, and it's the leadership that needs to be held accountable.
Now, are you surprised that for the most part, since Donald Trump's statements and from his rallies since, he has still been very good to the Secret Service and telling and talking about how they came to his aid and stuff. But do you think there will be a time maybe when Donald Trump gets a little bit more angrier at the whole macro level of the Secret Service failures that almost got him killed?
Well, you can bet if and when he becomes president again, there's going to be a shakeup at the Secret Service. You can bet on that. He's unlike the Biden administration. He will look at this and he will take action, which is exactly what needs to happen. I mean, we've seen ineptness from many aspects of this presidential administration. The people they have put into positions of authority and leadership. Many of these are people who don't have the qualifications, and they're put into play because of political issues. When law enforcement is involved, politics should not be involved at all. People's lives are at stake here, and what we saw here was only by a miracle was a presidential candidate not killed, and why there isn't more attention being put on this and more pressure being put on the Secret Service to come up with the responses that actually are factual and coming clean. Well, I can see the struggle that the Congress is trying to do, but this is something that needs a full investigation and not what I'm seeing right now.
And why do you think that is, Randy? I mean, we're not talking about a congressional member that was almost killed, a senator that was almost killed. We're talking about a former president and also a candidate for the presidency here in 2024 again. And it seems like the gravity of the situation and the type of investigations just aren't there right now, given what almost happened to Donald Trump.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And of course, now there's conspiracy theories flying all over the place, and what the Secret Service is doing by their failure to come clean, and by the lack of transparency here, they're feeding right into that narrative. And quite honestly, it's hard to believe that the Secret Service was this inept. And I think that's why the public is reeling when it comes down to what is really going on, and so they're feeding into the narrative themselves, because it doesn't make any sense that the Secret Service, an organization that's protected presidents and dignitaries for over 100 years pretty effectively, could suddenly become this incompetent.
And I think, this was just a big dagger, all right, to the organization there of the Secret Service, because you look at it before then and you really just think, okay, Secret Service, you see it in the movies, you see it on TV shows, how presented they are. And then when it comes to real life, it sort of fades away.
Well, keep this in mind, that much of what the Secret Service does, nobody ever does know about. Because when they thwart things, it's usually way before it actually takes place. So much of the good work that they do will go unseen. But this is their bread and butter. Dignitary protection is their bread and butter. There's so many questions here, including why wasn't there aerial surveillance? Why wasn't there a drone up? Why wasn't anybody on? There's so many questions that it makes the organization look completely inept, and that's the leadership. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's got to be a place where the buck stops here, and that's got to be the leadership of this organization, which has become inept. That's all. It hurts me to say it, because I have great respect for the men and women who are serving in the Secret Service. I know many of them personally. I know the pride they have in their organization. And when something like this happens, you got to remember, it wasn't that long ago that an entire cadre of Secret Service people issued a letter, which I got to tell you, it doesn't happen in law enforcement agencies, where they basically said they don't believe in the leadership. That's a big deal.
No, that's a huge deal because once you don't have that trust there, look what could happen. Last thing here for you, Randy, that I want to touch upon. Do you fear that this investigation may not lead to a conclusion that we can all get around? And I ask you this because, you know, we've seen investigations happen with September 11th, and for those family members of the victims, there's still not that closure that they are seeking right now, especially when you talk about Saudi Arabia and everything with that. So my question to you is there going to be a conclusion for not only Donald Trump, but the victim as well as the others that were hurt?
That's a great question. And unfortunately, I wish I could say, I know they're going to get to the bottom of it, but I don't have a whole lot of confidence. I wish I didn't have to say that, but we haven't heard anything more about this shooter. I mean, this is like the greatest mystery in the world. This 20-year-old kid that suddenly his whole entire life is an enigma. I got to tell you, that doesn't happen. Everybody leaves traces behind. We just haven't heard anything about the motive, about the devices, the investigation of the devices that he has. It's like it just fell off the radar. And how can the attempted assassination of the man who very well might be the next president of the United States fall through the cracks like this? That's what leads to speculation. That's what leads to conspiracy theories. That's what leads to a lack of confidence in what was once a very well-respected law enforcement agency.
Oh, so true. Randy Sutton, thanks so much for coming on here on Live Now from Fox. Always appreciate your input, and we always love to have you. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Take care.